Hey, how you doing, everybody? This is Bad Brad. And, as musicians, especially when you're just starting out, you inevitably have to work day gigs, all right? So I still get people in the comments, just like I saw John Nathan Cordy saying, people are telling him to, get a job, get a real job. And, man, it's maddening, but, I have had to work day jobs, yeah, especially when I was out in Los Angeles, because I didn't make a red cent headlining the Whiskey or Gazzari's or the Roxy or Coconut Teaser or any of those places that we used to play. But you can find yourself in peculiar situations just doing your job, just being, an average Joe working a job, right? So one of the jobs that I got while I was out in Hollywood was working at a hotel. Now, I'm not going to name which hotel, but it was between Melrose and Santa Monica Boulevard and near La Cienega. So that's the only clue I'm going to give you. But I was hired as a bellman. Now, at the time I needed work, and I had met a girl on the Strip and had befriended her, and, I'd talked to her a few times on the phone, and she said, hey, if you're looking for work, they need somebody at the hotel. I'll get you an interview, and all that. And, well, I had never worked at a hotel before, but this was kind of a boutique hotel where a lot of music artists stayed, and famous people and actors, and then just people in the music business. And so it was one of those places, and I believe she worked in accounting, and she would be there, but they needed somebody part-time to come help the regular guy that was the bellman full-time. So the job of being a bellman here was unique in that you were the only one on staff to also park the cars, bring all the bags up, and run errands up to rooms, run memos up, videotapes. We had, it was one of those hotels that it had a movie collection that you could check out, and they'd had VCRs in the room. This was way back in probably about 1991, 1992. I think I worked there like a couple of years. But it was a really interesting job. And man, I got to up close and personal with a lot of different rock stars and a lot of people that I really idolized. But, I was always of the mindset that, one, I was there to do a job. So I never really told anyone that I was a musician. I never pitched my songs or, hey, come out to my show or any of that kind of stuff. I was there for business, and the business was to make money. So, every time you would run something up to a room, you would generally get tipped. They'd usually throw you a buck or something like that. But there were certain rock stars that were very cheap. And one that became, was the singer in a band that became famous for a Budokan recording. I was a big fan. I bought that album when I was a kid. I was a big fan of them. And he was staying there a lot. Like, it may have been home base. They may have been recording an album in LA. I don't know, but it was like the place where he stayed whenever he was in town. And every time I would get sent up to his room, and man, we're talking like multiple times a day. Every time it was just, I would deliver a fax, or I would deliver a piece of mail, or he'd ask for this, or he'd ask for that. Every single time I went to the room, I was stiffed. Every single time. And I knew it. After a while, I just, I knew I was just basically running up there and not going to get anything. But, that's part of doing it. Then there were some that were, very generous, and there were some that, were just moderately generous. There was another famous musician that was a member of a prog trio, bass, keyboards, and drums. And every time he checked in, every single time. See, we had videotapes, right? And they were movies. But there was also an adult section of the movies. And this person, as soon as they checked in, I would have, my little desk was outside, the bell desk, and I had a little phone. So the front desk, if they needed me to run something to somebody, the phone would ring, and I would answer the phone. Yeah, bell desk. And they'd say, we need you to run a movie up to so-and-so's room. And every time this person checked in, an adult film would be ordered. And so I would, every time he checked in, it'd be literally like 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, we need you to run a film up to so-and-so's room. So I would run the film up there, and again, it was another situation where I would be stiffed. But, it's just like, it's just part of the day, right? It's just part of the day. But I always found it funny, like, as soon as I would take his stuff up to the room, and I think he'd usually stiff me then, or maybe give me $1. But as soon as I got back down to the desk, it'd be, Brad, we need you to run this up for Mr. So-and-so. So that was kind of humorous. But I got this close, face to face, with Robert Plant. All right, now Robert Plant, Led Zeppelin, forgot. First of all, the man is tall, right? He is tall. And Robert Plant was there, and he had a statuesque blonde, probably in her 20s, and tall as well. Way taller than me, way taller than most people. And I'm in the hallway, and Robert Plant comes up. Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to the 101? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. Just go down to Melrose, make a left, and keep going, and you'll run right into it. You'll see the on-ramp for 101. He said, oh, thank you so much, mate. And that was it. Another time, I was working, and I don't remember if it was a bus or a van or something, but David Bowie's whole entourage, his whole band, and everybody had been staying there. And this, all of a sudden, I'm out front, and they're like, we need you to store this bag for us. And I look up, and I'm eye to eye with David Bowie. And he looks at me, he's like, don't open it. And I was like, no problem. And he handed me, I think it was $20. And he says, here, take this up to such and such room, and take care of it. Don't open it. And I'm like, okay. So, David Bowie, Robert Plant, and the a couple of blind items that I added. Isaac Hayes was another guy that came in, and he checked in, and I helped him get his bag to his room and handed me a $20 bill. And I'm like, man, that's incredible, right? George Clinton was a long-time stayer at the room, and I remember one time, I didn't know too much about George, but I was a big P-Funk fan, and George was staying at the hotel, and I'd gotten there really early. I started my shift at like 6 a.m. So I was there early, and all of a sudden I see this woman come up to the front desk, and she walked up, and she looked homeless. She looked like she was probably on crack, addicted to crack. But she came up, and she went to the front desk, And the front desk calls me up and says, can you escort this lady to Mr. Clinton's room? I was like, yes, no problem. So we go up to George Clinton's room, knock on the door. He peers out the window. Woman goes in. He goes, like, man, you know. So, interesting place to work. And I've got some more whacked out stories from my time working a day job in LA. But this was just a teaser. There's much more to come. So stay tuned, and I'll see you on the next video.